It's really not diversification if you're 100% in the stock market, even if you're in different stocks and different index funds. You do want to be diversified out of the stock market somewhat. Maybe 30% or so of your capital, I would suggest, should be in tried and true, well-managed, high-demand real estate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Aaron Fragnito with the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. We have a very special episode today called Making Out-of-the-Box Investments During COVID-19. So we're going to focus today on different types of investments, not just real estate, out-of-the-box investments, alternative investments, real estate included, but a number of other alternative investments that could be good options during COVID-19. Obviously, we've seen this pandemic grow over the last 18 months, and it seems as if it's something that's really not going away. So we might as well learn how to work with it than against it. And that's what this podcast is about. Remember, if you want to learn more about working with People's Capital Group and different private offerings we have, you can go to peoplescapitalgroup.com, where you can learn more about what we do with real estate investors and how we help them passively invest in real estate and how we've been doing this successfully for almost a decade. That's at peoplescapitalgroup.com. But let's break right into it today. Here's our topic: making out-of-the-box investments during COVID-19. I was going to say making the most of a bad scenario, and that's really what this is, right? So this Black Swan event, we don't really want to talk about it. It's getting boring now. It's old news, but we want to be aware of what's going on. We want to think, okay, how is this going to affect us long term, right? And of course, we've all done that now at this point. And here's my suggestions. Here's a number of things that I've also personally invested in, put my money where my mouth is, on alternative investments. And I'm not just going to say real estate. I'm going to talk about a number of other things I like here and things I also don't like personally, and why I feel that way. So cryptocurrency is actually the first thing I want to start with. Cryptocurrency is something that, of course, we've all seen on the news here. I'm a big fan of crypto. I do think the government's printing way too much money. I think that inflation has really boosted our real estate values, which I'm not complaining about, but it's also caused the dollar to lessen in value. I think cryptocurrency makes a lot of sense. I don't know which one to buy particularly. I don't know exactly how all of them work. I know there's a lot of different blockchains that serve a lot of different purposes. And I think there's going to come a number of winners out of this crypto mania and a number of losers, like any type of new alternative investment opportunity. I myself do own some Bitcoin and some Ether, so I'm curious there and see where those investments go. So far, they've been very good for me. I'm not going to really diversify more than 2% of my portfolio into crypto, but I did put about 2% of my portfolio into crypto, and so far it's been a very good investment for me. But crypto is one of those things you don't want to invest too much that you can lose. I wouldn't invest more than 5% of my portfolio or so into it because it's such a volatile asset class. It's also not backed by anything, where something like real estate, you actually have an actual asset at the end of the day, a brick and mortar asset. Cryptocurrency, of course, is not really backed by any brick and mortar asset. It's just based on what we perceive as value in that cryptocurrency. And of course, the more companies and countries that accept it and the less regulation there is over it, the more attractive it is. Another alternative I like a lot is gold. Actually, I don't like gold a lot, so gold is just on the list here as an alternative investment that we've seen. It's been around for a long time. Silver is comparable to this. Any precious metal, really. I'm not a huge fan of precious metals. A lot of people say, oh, they're great for times of recession. And sure, gold tends to stay strong when the market goes down, but I feel like you also want to be invested in things that have uses. Gold has some uses, but for the most part, its primary use is that it's an attractive piece of metal that we like to buy as jewelry. It has some technological uses, but for the most part, gold is really a luxury item that we pay for as to enjoy as a piece of jewelry. So, in my opinion, something like crypto at least could be used to trade value. It's at least a currency that could be used to trade value. Now, gold could be used as a currency as well, or more of a bartering tool. It really doesn't work as well as a currency as something like crypto would. So I'm not so bullish on gold, but I do want to note it as a out-of-the-box investment during COVID-19 that can be a good place to perhaps invest a small part of your wealth. And of course, you always want to look into different options in that space. Cannabis. So I like cannabis as an alternative investment. I haven't personally partaken in much of the investments there. I'm looking around different stocks and different options there. Some of them I missed the boat. Others I think have room to grow. But I do think that legal cannabis and recreational cannabis is going to be a real big money. It already is a real big money maker for certain states, certain investments. It's no secret that this is an alternative stock, an alternative option that's been around for some time now. I know with cannabis, there is a lot of regulation on it, but other countries are more bullish on it. Some states are very bullish on it. Others are very regulated on it. So it's a very unknown space right now. And what I find is there are opportunities to invest as these emerging markets are being created. You want to be smart where you're investing with, of course, any alternative investment, any investment period. But with cannabis, I do notice that there's already a marketplace for it. There's already millions of people using and purchasing the product. In my opinion, it's less harmful than alcohol, and I think it makes a lot of sense to have as a recreational option for people. If you're allowed to buy alcohol, which is a drug that can kill you, you should be able to buy an herb that doesn't necessarily, no one's died from overdose of it. So there are a lot of medical benefits of it as well that I think really need to be studied. So cannabis has a lot of room to grow. If the current administration makes it not a stage 1 drug and moves it to a lesser stage, it could be studied more easily, and that would allow companies to create more benefits of medical marijuana and more benefits of to help people in need with that all-natural drug. And of course, my final out-of-the-box investment during COVID-19 is going to be real estate, because I'm a real estate investor and it's tried and true, and that's where I think a lot of capital should be invested at the end of the day. I don't understand why the stock market is the primary asset for people to invest in. A lot of people have 100% of their capital in the stock market and feel they're diversified within the stock market. It's really not diversification if you're 100% in the stock market, even if you're in different stocks and different index funds. You do want to be diversified out of the stock market somewhat. Maybe 30% or so of your capital, I would suggest, should be in tried and true, well-managed, high-demand real estate. Find a good real estate syndicate that meets your goals. Invest in that syndicate. Find good operators, the good track record that share the same mentality that you share, and invest with that real estate syndicate. Real estate's tried and true. We need a roof over our head. This COVID-19 thing has shown us one thing, that real estate's actually always going to have to be there. We're always going to need a roof over our head, whether there's a recession, whether there's a disease going around. And that's why I like real estate. It's also, there's not enough of it right now, especially in certain markets. So we invest in North Jersey. There's just not enough real estate. There's more people than houses. So that's a good problem for the real estate owners. That allows our real estate value to raise and rents to raise as well. Of course, we don't want that to go too crazy, because we want more inventory so we can keep buying real estate at good prices and sprucing it up and renting it out for top dollar. And that's what we do here at People's Capital Group. So these are my suggestions for making out-of-the-box investments during COVID-19. Take them with a grain of salt. This is not financial advice, tax advice, or legal advice, of course. My suggestions overall were cryptocurrency, precious metals such as gold, which really I was not leaning towards. It's actually not a suggestion, just something that is commonly put out there as an option. Cannabis, which I am bullish on, and of course, real estate. You could have guessed that one. At the end of the day, you want to diversify. I think no more than 10% of your portfolio should be in crypto and gold and cannabis. Those are kind of higher volatile, more risky investments. In my opinion, I think about 30% of your capital should be in real estate. And of course, the rest is up to you to put into what you feel is the best investments to build your wealth long term for you and your family. Good luck out there. If you want to learn more about how we work with passive investors buying real estate, go to peoplescapitalgroup.com, where you can learn about different offerings we have out to our investor group. Over 60 podcast episodes, mostly with guests, with lots of great feedback, and also more information, other recorded webinars and live webinars coming up that you can jump in on. So you go to peoplescapitalgroup.com, where you can enjoy all of our content. And if you feel like we're a fit for your investment goals, fill out a qualification form. We'll get back to you and connect with you in the near future. Have a good day.